you've arrived at the Candlelit Archive, a place that does not appear on maps and does not exist during the day. Only when the world grows quiet and the thoughts in your mind begin to slow does it open for you. Tonight, you have been granted access to one of its quietest rooms, a story that was never meant to be rushed. So you do not need to stay awake for it. In fact, you are not expected to. Just listen for as long as you can and let the rest fade on its own. There are some lights in this world that never truly go out. Even after people leave. Even after roads disappear beneath weeds and rain. Even after years pass quietly into memory. Some lights simply wait, patiently, warmly, as though they understand that eventually someone tired will need help finding their way home. And tonight, far beyond the sleepless cities and crowded highways, beyond the glowing windows and endless noise, there is a small house resting alone beneath the rain. A house with one golden porch light still shining through the dark. A house that has been waiting for you longer than you realize. A house that kept the light on for you, even when you forgot how to find your way back to yourself. And tonight, you finally arrive. The storm begins sometime after midnight. Not violent, not frightening, just steady rain drifting endlessly across the empty roads. The kind of rain that softens the edges of the world. Streetlights blur behind silver mist. Road signs glow dimly through the dark. And the sound against the windshield becomes strangely hypnotic. You drive slowly, not entirely certain where you are going anymore. Only away from crowded thoughts, away from the heaviness of the day, away from the exhausting feeling that no matter how much you gave, there was always something more expected of you. You are tired in a way sleep alone never quite fixes. The deep kind of tired. The kind that settles quietly inside the soul. The farther you drive, the quieter the world becomes. Gas stations disappear. Traffic lights vanish. The roads narrow into long, winding stretches between dark forests and sleeping hills. Rainwater glimmers silver beneath your headlights. Tall pine trees sway gently beside the road. And somewhere beyond the fog, thunder rolls softly across distant mountains. It feels less like traveling and more like drifting, as though the night itself is slowly carrying you somewhere hidden, somewhere forgotten, somewhere waiting. Then, through the rain, you see it. A single golden light, far ahead in the darkness. Small, steady, unmoving. first, you think it might be another passing car, but it never moves. It simply glows there quietly through the storm, warm against the endless gray rain. And without fully understanding why, you follow it. The road curves upward into the hills. Gravel crunches softly beneath your tires. The forest thickens around you until finally the house appears. Small, old, warmly lit, resting alone atop the hillside beneath enormous swaying trees. Golden light spills gently from the windows. A porch lantern swings softly in the rain, and smoke curls lazily upward from a stone chimney. The house looks impossibly peaceful, like something remembered from a dream, or perhaps from another life entirely. You park quietly beside the gravel path. The rain continues whispering against the roof of the car. But for several moments, you simply sit there staring at the house. Because something about it feels familiar. Not visually, emotionally. Like remembering a feeling you lost years ago. The feeling of being expected nowhere. Needed by no one for a little while. Allowed to rest without apology. And then the porch light flickers gently once, as though the house has noticed you arrived. The rain is cool against your skin as you step from the car. Wind moves softly through the trees overhead. The entire hillside smells of wet earth, pine needles, and distant fireplaces. The porch steps creak gently beneath your feet, and the closer you move toward the front door, the warmer the air becomes. You can already smell cedarwood, old books, tea steeping somewhere inside. Then, before your hand even reaches the door, it opens. An elderly man stands quietly in the doorway, not startled, not suspicious, only calm, as though he has been waiting for you all evening. He wears a dark wool sweater and soft house slippers. Silver hair falls loosely around his face, and in his eyes there is no urgency whatsoever, only kindness, the kind that asks nothing in return. You took your time getting here, he says gently, not accusingly, almost fondly, like someone greeting an old friend. And somehow those words settle deeply inside you, because you did take your time getting here. Years, perhaps. Years spent trying to hold yourself together, trying to be dependable, strong, useful, careful, needed. Years spent forgetting you were human too. The man steps aside quietly. You should come in, he says. The storm will be here all night. The moment the door closes behind you, the world changes. Not dramatically, softly, like stepping from winter into warmth. The house hums gently with quiet life. Floorboards creak. Fire crackles softly somewhere deeper inside. Rain taps steadily against distant windows. Everything smells faintly of cedarwood and cinnamon tea. The air itself feels slower here, softer, as though time moves differently inside the house. You remove your coat slowly. Rainwater drips quietly onto the wooden floor. The elderly man hangs the coat beside several others already resting near the doorway. Some modern, some impossibly old. You glance toward them curiously. The man notices other travelers, he says softly. People who arrived here tired. Then after a moment, he adds quietly, most people do eventually. He leads you through the house slowly. Amber lamps glow softly along the hallway walls. Bookshelves line nearly every room. Blankets rest folded neatly atop chairs. And every window reveals only rain and darkness beyond the glass. Yet, somehow, the darkness outside no longer feels lonely, only peaceful. At the center of the house, a large stone fireplace glows warmly beneath wooden beams darkened with age. Several armchairs sit nearby, wrapped in heavy blankets. A kettle hums quietly atop the stove, and beside the fire, an old orange cat sleeps soundlessly without even lifting its head as you enter. The room feels impossibly safe. Not perfect. Not luxurious. Simply gentle. The kind of place where exhausted people finally stop pretending they are fine. You can rest here, the man says softly. Then he pours tea into 2 old ceramic cups. Steam curls upward through the warm amber light. Rain continues whispering outside. And little by little, the exhaustion you've been carrying begins surfacing forward. Not because the house forces it from you, but because this is the first place in a very long time where you no longer need to hide it. Hours drift by quietly, by beside the fireplace. The storm deepens outside. Thunder rolls gently across distant hills. But inside the house, everything remains warm, steady, still. The elderly man speaks only occasionally. Never filling silence unnecessarily. Never asking difficult questions. Eventually, you ask him how long he has lived here. He smiles faintly. A very long time. Then, after a moment, long enough to know that tired people always find this place eventually. You ask him what he means. The fire crackles softly between you. The old cat shifts in its sleep. Rain traces silver rivers across the dark windows. And then the man says quietly, "This house appears for people who have forgotten they deserve rest." The words settle heavily inside you, because somewhere deep down you know he is right. You spent so long surviving, so long being dependable, managing everything, holding everything together. You became so accustomed to carrying the emotional weight of entire days, entire years, that eventually you forgot you were allowed to put anything down. The man watches the fire carefully, then says softly, "The world teaches people that exhaustion is proof of goodness. But exhaustion is not proof of goodness. It is only proof that you have been carrying too much alone." Outside, the storm softens slightly. Rain continues drifting through the trees. And for the first time in longer than you can remember, something inside you begins unclenching. Much later, you wander quietly through the sleeping house alone. The hallway lamps glow dimly gold against dark wood walls. Every room feels peaceful, lived in, patient. You pass shelves filled with worn books. Old clocks tick slowly. Soft blankets folded carefully atop chairs near dark windows. Eventually, you stop beside the front door. The porch light still glows warmly outside, steady against the rain, never flickering, never fading. You stare at it for a long moment, then quietly ask, why do you always leave the light on? Behind you, the elderly man smiles, because perhaps he already knows what you are truly asking. Why wait for strangers? Why keep the house warm? Why care for tired people who drift in from the storm? The man steps quietly beside you, and together you watch the rain fall beyond the porch. Then softly he answers, because someone once left the light on for me. The rain whispers softly through the trees, and somehow those words feel older than the house itself, older than memory. The storm gradually drifts farther into the mountains. Thunder fades into distant silence. Rain softens against the roof. The fire burns low and golden behind you. The house grows quieter, sleepier. The entire world feels wrapped in softness now. The elderly man prepares one final cup of tea. The old cat stretches lazily beside the fire. And somewhere upstairs, wooden floorboards creak softly as the house settles into the night. You realize then no explanations, no strength, no pretending, only rest. The man gestures toward the staircase. There's a room ready for you upstairs. You ask how he knew you were coming. The faintest smile touches his face. I didn't, he says softly. The house did. And somehow that answer feels perfectly natural here. You climb the stairs slowly. The hallway upstairs glows with dim amber lamps. Rain continues beyond the windows, and at the very end of the hall, a small bedroom door stands open. Warm light spilling gently across the floorboards. Inside, a bed rests beneath heavy blankets. A lantern glows softly beside the window. And beyond the rain-streaked glass, the porch light continues shining through the dark. Steady, patient, waiting. You slip quietly beneath the blankets. The mattress sinks softly beneath your weight. Warmth surrounds you immediately. Outside, rain whispers endlessly through the trees. Inside, the old house creaks peacefully around you. Safe sounds, resting sounds, the sounds of a place built for weary souls. And as your eyes slowly grow heavier, you realize something gently wonderful. The house never expected you to arrive perfect, only tired. The lantern glows softly beside the bed. The porch light continues shining through the storm. And somewhere downstairs, the old house keeps its warm heart awake through the night. Just in case another exhausted traveler is still trying to find their way home. And now, the Candlelit Archive grows quiet again. The books return to stillness. The lanterns continue their gentle walk. And the story is safely put away until it is needed once more. You do not need to finish this moment awake. You do not need to hold on to anything from it. Only rest. Only slow down. Only